everyone? Welcome back to another VSU video game review. I am one of your hosts, Adam Morgan, and my co-host,
Cameron Tudor.
And today we'll be doing something very different. Instead of talking about an upcoming game, we've decided that we're going to talk about the industry as a whole. And more specifically, we wanted to talk about the quality of games that have been coming out these last couple of years. Because, I don't know,
and how they've kind of been declining.
I don't know. Like, being locked here in our apartments, we've had a lot of time to just sit back and analyze games 24/7. So,
yep. Plenty.
It's interesting because a lot of people would say that we're hitting peak performance when it comes to gaming, but in reality, it's not. It's slowly going downhill.
Yeah, I mean they're not taking their time on it. They're just rushing it all out. So we're getting half-assed quality. I mean, it's just not as good as it could be.
True. It's more of the lines like over time, like you start to notice that, okay, I remember this game had this feature last year. And so like 2 or 3 years later when the next version or the sequel of the game comes out, it's missing that feature. And then they re-added, but you have to pay to get it back into the game. And so microtransactions have really taken over the entire industry, if we're being honest.
Yeah, it's making stuff that should have already been there at DLC that's needless to be a DLC. It should just already be there.
And so, granted, I understand wanting to support the devs and them making money, but at the same time, it's one of those things where they don't... Well, I don't want to say they don't think about the consumer, but it seems like they don't. And so basically, it just puts a bad taste in everyone's mouth because you've already paid your $60 or $45 for a game. Why should I pay an extra $20 for extra stuff that should have been in the game that was already being made?
Yeah, it's just pointless to have that extra charge, and it's more annoying than anything. Like again, like I also understand wanting to support the devs like that, but it doesn't make sense to do it with something that was in a previous game made by the same people when it should have already been there. It's just kind of senseless.
Yeah. And it's like, what's an example? NBA 2K, I want to say NBA 2K18 with Kyrie Irving on the cover. For that year, they were charging people in game 1,000 virtual currency in game to get a haircut. And so the game received a lot of backlash because it was ridiculous. You're charging kids. You're basically telling these kids they have to pay they have to go and buy virtual packs to basically be able to go and cut their hair in a video game. And so now after all of that, 2K made it free because of all the backlash they got.
Yeah, I mean that's something that when I saw the game come out, I expected that would have already been in there, so it was disappointing to see it wasn't. And as you said, EA had to go back and then they changed that. Just didn't.
Oh no, that was 2K
not
games.
EA, I meant 2K. They had to go back and change that. So I mean, it just eventually they just had to do what should have already been in there, and not only did it just disappoint the fans, it kind of wasted time for them having to go back and do something that should have already been done when they could have been using that time on a new game.
True. And it's like EA themselves, they've also been in trouble for some of these things. For an example, the game that is Battlefield 5, it was released so early that there were barely any modes in the game. Granted, there was a single player to play, but the multiplayer was met because they didn't finish the entire game completely. It's getting to the point where games in the community are just getting released like that. They just get released and they're not done, and they want you to wait for extra stuff, and then they want you to pay for it. Luckily, EA gave all the DLC for free, but at the same time, the fan base died out for the game.
Yeah, it took a toll because fans they didn't want that. And one big big perpetrator of that particular problem would be, for example, Mass Effect Andromeda. The game got rushed
Oh,
big time, rushed way too much, and when it came out, it looked like garbage.
true. And
Like,
like
the
that,
graphics were
I
just
will say for
not on par with the last game whatsoever. They were somehow less. The facial expressions never made sense if there were facial expressions, because most of the time it just looked like their face was tired and didn't want to do anything. So it just ended up not working out.
I
That's what happens when the games get rushed. They just don't meet top quality anymore, and they're oftentimes just getting rushed out so they can be put on the shelves and they can make money sooner, when they'd probably make more money if they took more time to make it better.
True. But for Andromeda, I feel like it's a little bit different because for Andromeda, it was Mass Effect is a very well known IP, and it got given to devs that have never made a game of that caliber. So they were struggling and they were crunching for time because EA gave them what was it? They gave BioWare like a time frame that this game has to be done by this certain time, and it was their first time working on a AAA game of this caliber. So I definitely get what you're saying, but at the same time, it's one of those factors that played in that the publishers of the game, it's really them controlling it behind the scenes, and it's them that's ruining the quality of games.
Yeah, and again, to be fair with Andromeda, they also had to do it on an entirely new programming system that they were using. It was a completely new developer. It wasn't just simply entirely new concept, but the software they were using was completely new, because I think it was
Frostbite, right?
I can't remember if it was Frostbite or Unreal Engine. I think Frostbite, but
Because Frostbite is the engine that EA has started to use for all of their games at this point. And I gotta say, over the years, like Frostbite started out on Battlefield Bad Company, and that's when I feel like their graphics were at their peak, because like that was when this is before EA went fully downhill, before they started investing everything in the Ultimate Team. And so with Frostbite, it was different, because it was like, okay, this game, it makes it look a little bit more realistic on a console that shouldn't be running this powerful. And so Frostbite now is just meh, because they use it for everything. It's not special anymore.
yeah, it's really not. At the time when Andromeda came out, it was new, and the devs didn't fully know how to use it, so that's also part of why quality was a little lackluster. But and then there are some cases where it's not a new engine that they're using to develop a game, where either things get rushed or they just didn't take their time on it, and you just end up getting crap. Bethesda, I'm looking at you. Done that multiple times.
Relax.
Granted, still a huge fan of Skyrim.
I'm glad I didn't buy
But
Fallout
your
76.
games lately, your quality could be a bit better.
I'm glad I didn't buy Fallout 76. Well, actually, no. I lied. My friend bought Fallout 76, so I got Fallout 76, and I didn't lose my money, and I only played it for literally an hour, and then I uninstalled the game. Not my problem.
Yeah, I kind of did the
But-
same thing, and I uninstalled it just about as soon as you did, so it was not top
Yeah.
quality.
It was the lack of NPCs and just like the lack of content. They really, games are getting to the point where they're just trying to live up the like hype that they bring onto themselves. Like what's a game currently that's like in development? Cyberpunk 2077 is a perfect example of a game that said it won't be released until it's finished. It's been delayed so many times. So it's expected for that game to be great, and CD Projekt Red, they are known for making great games, especially with the Witcher series. So it's just really it comes down to your publisher and your developer, if they're willing to work together, actually take time to release a game. Like sports games, like honestly, sports games suck because there's a new one out at the end of the year each time.
Every year.
And so nothing really changes. Each year I get a chance to read I think we hit the pinnacle of graphics this year. I got to say, the sweat on LeBron's brow, it's great.
The creases on their uniform is amazing.
That's what... Oh, look at this floor technology. Look at how every time he takes a step, you see the ball dribble. Oh, look at the step back three. But no, that's literally all you hear every single year when it comes to these video games, specifically sports games, because a lot of sports games make their money off of Ultimate Team, and I feel like Ultimate Team and all the online gambling with that should become illegal at this point because it's literally online gambling, like I said. So
yeah, which gambling in itself is illegal.
Exactly. So, well, actually, no, it depends on where you live. But at the same time,
well,
it's kids that play Ultimate Team a lot, and that's why I feel like it should be banned. And so...
yeah, it's encouraging kids to do something that's, a little less than recommended.
You got kids taking their parents' credit cards and downloading all this DLC without them knowing. And so...
which, in a way, might as well be like pay to win.
Exactly. Well, that's the whole point of Ultimate Team. It's pay to win.
Yeah, it's... exactly.
Literally,
and it's making kids do things they shouldn't do.
There's a YouTuber that I watch, and I just watch him to get mad at him losing, even though he spent around $3,000 on Ultimate Team, and he still can't buy a win to save his life. So, yeah.
Nope.
But
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Oh, really? That's crazy. But at the end of the day, thank you for tuning in to VSU Video Game Review. I am one of your hosts, Adam Morgan, and my co-host,
Cameron Tudor.
And thank you for tuning in. Toodles.